Welcome to Spotlight on Clayton. I'm your host, Clayton Mayor Jody McLeod. Thank you for joining us for our new program entitled Spotlight on Clayton. Our program is designed to shine the spotlight on human interest stories and all the new and exciting events going on right here in Clayton. So join us. So today's topic is about public art. Public art, kind of an oxymoron, you know, public meaning for everybody, art maybe not for everybody. So what's the value that public art brings to a town? And what is the value that's created for the citizens? I think public art really is about creating a conversation within a community. So I want you to join me as we go out and catch the latest buzz on what's going on with the downtown Clayton Sculpture Trail. This public art piece is entitled Wind Chimes, and I'm joined here with Clayton's very own Lynn Austin. And Lynn, I just want to ask you, what do you think about the public art in Clayton?
I think it is so important to have public art in Clayton because, you know, if you think about it, just the sense of being around art lifts everybody's senses, and it says to people, these people care. It elevates the awareness of where you are, and I'm very proud that Clayton is doing this.
Awesome. Well, what do you think about this piece entitled Wind Chimes? I know it's a little rustic in nature.
Well, I love wind chimes, and I think they're so calming when you hear the sound of wind chimes. You know, you think if you go into a Japanese garden, automatically you're peaceful. And they use a lot of these sounds.
I really want to hear it chime, so why don't you push the ball a little bit?
I'd love to.
Yeah, let's hear it.
Whoa!
Wind chimes. I wanted to build something relatively quickly that I think a lot of people would enjoy and appreciate. Something that would be mildly interactive, at least with the wind in this case, where just the wind blowing would cause the piece to make noise. Hopefully a nice, pleasant sound. A piece that's been allowed to patina naturally or just to rust. You know, there's something about that age element. I think in part subconsciously I wanted to play that off of the idea of you know, the ancient architecture that I have some interest in. Anytime that the public can engage with art in a very open way like this, I think it's a great experience and the potential for more great experiences. In a way that not many people are able to get into a gallery on a regular basis, but in a public sculpture tour or walk like this, you get the opportunity for people who, like I said, don't engage artwork in galleries to see fine artwork in their daily lives without having to go out of the way for it.
I think that's great, and I think one thing that's positive about this piece is that it does appeal to the sense of hearing. So many times in sculpture everything is very visual, but this one being a little more interactive, and it also creates the sound of the wind chime. So Lynn Austin, thank you so much for being with me today
Certainly,
on Spotlight Clayton. Thank you for all you do for us.
My pleasure.
The name of the sculpture is Quetzalcoatl's Declination. That's declination in terms of astronomy, such as the moon in decline or a star in decline, as setting rather than rising. And the idea came from a Mayan legend of Quetzalcoatl, who, while he was on this earth, I understand from the legend, got mad at the sun. So he went into the sky, fought with the sun, defeated the sun, and then became the sun. And after that, he came back down to his people. And so this is Quetzalcoatl's Declination. It is aluminum, and it's painted with basically the same kind of paint on a car. The most common question I get is that a guitar? And I noticed one of the guys a while ago who was playing it like a guitar. So I hope everyone here likes it and thinks that maybe it looks a little like the sun after Quetzalcoatl became the sun.
So right across the street from our next public art piece is Rock Candy Studio and Gallery. And today I'm here with the owner, Brandy Biggs. Brandy, thanks for joining us on Spotlight on Clayton. And as an art enthusiast, tell us what you think about the sculpture across the street.
I think it's pretty cool. I think it's awesome that Clayton actually does something with the arts around here. Because it's cool just to get people's different opinions of what they think it is or what it looks like. And some people have adverse reactions, you know, and some people are like, you know, they think it's cool. I really like the one over in the new Front Street extension, the roundabout that's over there also. But awesome. Yeah, so it's nice to have it out of my window for sure, since I do like to house art with local artists and things. So
Yeah, and it's obvious that you have really eccentric taste in art, which I think is very cool.
Yes.
You know?
Yes, it's just a thing that we could offer the community. I mean, because I don't charge any housing fees or commissions, and everything would go to the artist. So it's not about me in that way, you know?
Exactly.
I think it's good to showcase.
That's awesome. Isn't she great? Brandy Biggs, Rock Candy Studio right here on Main Street. Thank you for joining us today.
For
That's
having
great.
me. I appreciate it.
Life cycle made of stainless steel. It represents two elements, male, female, positive, negative, and that's the cycle of life. It always start with two elements, two things. And all these radiating, that energy that radiates from the center to the outside, at the same time from outside to the center. And that's why I combine both geometric and organic form, curvilinear, to present male, female, and the interlocking of both to generate that center focal point, a new birth, a new beginning. And that's why I titled it The Cycle of Life.
So we're in the circle here at Front Street Extension, and joining me today while she was walking her dog is my good friend Lori Partlow. Lori, welcome to Spotlight on Clayton.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining us today. So what do you think about this beautiful stainless steel art piece?
I really like it. It adds a lot to the space. The circle here would look really bare without something like this, and it's got a lot of nice texture to it, neat shapes.
And it's a pretty good scale too, wouldn't you say?
Yes, it's a good size.
I think it's one of the largest in our collection for this year, most definitely. So what do you think public art means for Clayton?
I think it just adds a lot to the community. It adds to life. It makes life less boring. You got pretty things to look at. I think it's great.
I think it's been wonderful too, because I think it's really created a conversation in Clayton.
Yes, I think so
Which
too.
is really fantastic.
Some people love it, some people hate certain pieces, but
yes,
everybody's got an opinion.
Exactly, and that's the beauty of public art. That's fantastic. And you know, you might even say the art in Clayton have gone to the dogs.
Yes.
That's perfect. Hey, buddy.
Vortex. Most of the stuff I try to use a lot of recycled material. Yeah. And it's all stainless steel scrap that I had gotten. And then I just cleaned them up, polished them up, and ground them the way I wanted to, and welded them all together to make the sculpture. Well, I guess what I was trying to create was like a upflow vortex. And I want it to be like kind of like this massive energy that's coming up and like it's twisting and spinning and got this movement to it. I hope they, maybe they can feel some kind of energy from it, It makes them feel good.
Our next public art piece is entitled Vortex. And on Horn Square, I'm joined with Cindy Nanez. Cindy, thank you for joining us on Spotlight on Clayton.
Oh, you're welcome. I'm excited to be here.
We want to know what you think about this beautiful piece of artwork.
Well, I see it practically every day because my business is right across the street from this beautiful sculpture. When I look at it, it portrays to me like a dancer is dancing in the wind. I'm a dancer. I've been a dancer since I was 5 years old. So a lot of times when I look at things, I see dance through it. And so when I first saw it, I said, oh, it kind of looks like a dancer is dancing around in the wind and all of that. So that's really what I picked up when I first saw it. So I enjoy looking at it whenever I walk by to go eat at Manning's or any of the restaurants in downtown Clayton. And we're excited because with the Clayton Food Tour, we are going to do the trail with food. So we're going to do a food walk and a sculpture walk at the same time.
That's awesome.
And so we're going to incorporate both and really take in what the people on the tour think about the sculptures.
That's fantastic.
So we're excited about that.
Now that you mentioned the whole dance thing, when I look at that piece, I see movement, I see repetition, I see all those elements that compose a great dance.
Yes.
That's fantastic. Just fantastic. Well, thank you so much for joining us today.
Yes, you're welcome. I'm glad I was able to be here.
Awesome. It's a pleasure.
He stopped and turned to see and listen. And I was thinking about one of those moments when our attention is drawn to something, and I think those are critical, important moments in people's lives and experience. So I thought I would do a sculpture that depicted that moment. He's made of locust wood. It's very hard wood. It grows right on my property, actually. And it's very weather resistant. And I use it because of that hardness, but also that resistance helps me slow down when I'm making the sculpture, cut the wood into small pieces and screw them together. When there's something worthy of us stopping to look, we should do that. That's kind of what I was thinking about this guy. You know, he was going in this direction, but something over here made him stop and look to see, you know, what was there.
So we're downtown at the library looking at the sculpture piece entitled "He Stopped and Turned to See and Listen." And I have two great Claytonians with me today. I'd like to welcome Will and Wes. Welcome to Spotlight on Clayton. And basically, guys, we just want to know, what do you think about this sculpture piece?
I think it's pretty nice. The cool way you did the mouth and yeah, it's pretty cool. It's looking upward.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that. What do you think about that?
I think it's pretty cool the way you were able to use pieces of wood, and I think it's a nice sculpture.
Do you think maybe this guy breaks loose after midnight and walks the streets in Clayton?
I don't know.
Sometimes we're wondering if he just stands here and constantly waits for the train. Have you guys ever heard the train come through Clayton?
Yeah.
It's pretty loud, isn't it?
Yeah, it's just right over there.
Yeah. That's why we thought this is a good placement for this art piece.
Yeah.
Do you think it's cool to have art in your town?
Yeah.
Yeah, you think kids your age are like into the art scene?
I mean, I know we are, but I don't know if everyone is.
My mom's an artist.
Yeah.
Oh, well, that's cool. They come from good stock. That's fantastic. All right. Well, thank you for being with us today. It's great to have you on Spotlight on Clayton. And I think that will do us.
This is part of the semicircle balance study series. This is made of stainless steel and river rocks. I started working on this series to kind of get away from really overly conceptual work, and I wanted to work on something that dealt mainly with form and balance. So I chose the form of the semicircle, and I've been creating different variations of that with stainless, mild steel, found object, and just creating forms with precarious balance that interest me. I look at a piece like that as just adorning the environment that's there already. It looks like we have a beautiful park, beautiful landscaping, and I hope the object can just enhance that and get some more people to come outside and enjoy the area. I love having my art in the public. I don't believe that artists make artwork to hide in our closets. We put things out there for other people to see, and we're happy to hear the feedback.
We're back in Town Square with another public art piece, and joining me is Clayton resident Jason Hardy. So Jason, tell me what you think about this public art piece.
Well, I think this is another one of our great pieces. It encompasses some metal and stone work, and it's kind of a melding of natural and man-made, which, you know, I think it looks great in Town Square, which is already beautiful with the natural foliage and that type of thing. It's just a neat kind of juxtaposition of natural and man-made elements.
I like that. Jason also serves as our chairman of the Public Art Advisory Board. And Jason, tell me what you think public art means to Clayton.
Well, I think it means a couple things. It means great economic driving. It's wonderful, first of all, that I think the town council showed some motivation to bring public art to Clayton. It helps beautify an already beautiful downtown. Hopefully it's something that people recognize as something that's progressive in how we think as a town and how we're moving along.
Awesome. Are you looking forward to bringing more public art to Clayton?
Absolutely. We're working on a couple of different projects now and are about to announce our third major project in town, so stay tuned for that.
Awesome. All right. Thank you so much for joining us, Jason. It was a pleasure having you. Thank you.
This piece is called The Silent Sounds of Service, and it represents the 5 branches of service that are in our country by those 5 chimes that hang. And all those pieces were actually military artifacts. They actually have been to war, all those pieces. And so I wanted to use the actual material in a very quiet way to represent all the things that people have given to this country. The inside of those pipes are red, representing blood, representing what you give, what you have inside of yourself. There's a lot of symbolism here. Those epaulets up top, the fancy parts, represents the grandiose presentation of the military and the parades and the generals and all the fancy stuff they wear. This is the moment when they celebrate who they are. I think people are going to be curious about it. I think they're going to like it, and I think they're going to maybe examine what does that mean, silent sounds of service.
And I'm happy to be here today with a very good friend of mine and Clayton native, Mr. Sam Robertson. Mr. Robertson, thank you so much for being with us today.
It's my pleasure.
We wanted to talk with you just a little bit about the art piece that's entitled The Silent Sound of Service, for all the many men and women who have, you know, given their all for the sake of this good old country that we live in. And I understand you are a World War II veteran yourself.
I am that.
And you served in what dates?
I wound up in a place called Framlingham, England, on the East Anglian coast. I was one of a crew of 9 of us in a B-17 Flying Fortress. We dropped bombs over France and Germany, and we all came back in one piece. Good Lord willing, He did that for us, yeah.
Yes, he did. And I think when the artist was creating this art piece, that's exactly what he had in mind. So, Mr. Robertson, I want to ask you what you think about this art piece that the town of Clayton has installed to honor those folks who have given so much for our country.
Now that I look at it in more detail than I have before, it seems a very appropriate honor piece for us old vets. And I thank the town and the people that built it for this.
I call it kind of like a love poem. You know, they're standing on each other, they're supporting each other. And, you know, it's kind of an impossible gymnastic move, but I've seen people actually do this. I can't do it. It's made of cast aluminum, and the bases are painted steel. It took about 8 months. Yeah, it was quite a while. You notice there's like a texture that look like water and waves, and that flow through the whole piece and unite them too through the feet. So it really is about physical fitness, nature through the water, and togetherness. Thanks for choosing my sculpture, and I hope everyone in Clayton loves it.
And yes, ladies and gentlemen, today I'm joined by Mother Mayor. Please welcome my mom, Jody McLeod. Mama, thank you for being with us today on Spotlight on Clayton. We've been having conversations this afternoon all about the public art in Clayton, and we just wanted to get your thought and your feedback on this sculpture entitled Love Arch.
Well, I don't like it. I just think, to me, it's vulgar, and I'm not proud of it being here where people on this thoroughfare can see all of it. I really do not like it. And honestly, I'm surprised that someone has not put some clothes on these people as long as this has been here.
And so you were saying earlier that some of your friends kind of felt the same way.
I've had several friends say something to me about it, and they didn't like it either. And they also said, who in the world picked this for our town? And since they know my son's the mayor, I got a lot of those questions. I said, well, I don't know. I said, but it sure won't me.
That is great.
And it wasn't me, and I don't like it.
And the thing that you're most happy about is what?
That it's coming down.
No, that the thing you're most happy about is you don't have to walk through it. So let's try it again. We'll take it from the top. What is it? Let me ask my question. So what is it that you're most happy about?
I'm so thankful that it's here where it is, so everybody does not have to come to the Clayton Center through here to see all this.
All right, folks, there you have it. Noticing that public art is the oxymoron, public for everyone, art maybe not so much. But today we want to thank Mother Mayor for joining us today and for expressing your opinion. You're the best.
Thank you. Well, that's the way I feel.
And that's a cut. So we've given you a glimpse of the sculpture trail in downtown Clayton with various opinions, but what we want to know is, what do you think? We want you to vote for the People's Choice Awards, and here are the details on how you can make that happen.
The Downtown Clayton Sculpture Trail People's Choice Award is in your hands. So get out in the next several weeks and check out these 8 amazingly unique sculptures because the voting kicks off in January. Week 1 bracket matchup. It's The Man of Locustwood, Listening for the Train on the Library Lawn by Charlie Brower. He stopped and turned to see and listen. Versus The Spiraling Silver Rings of Nelson Smith's Vortex at Horn Square. Week 2 bracket matchup, it's The Glistening Stainless Steel in the Roundabout on Front Street Extension by Hannah Jabran versus The Larger-Than-Life Wind Chimes by Adam Walls at Town Square. Week 3 bracket matchup, the colorful creation of the feathered serpent god Quetzalcoatl's Declination by Robert Kuhn at Town Square versus The Stately Salute to Our Country's Military by Gary Gresco with his Silent Sounds of Service at Horn Square. Week 4 bracket matchup, the timeless couple arching across the lawn at the Clayton Center, Love Arch by Andrew Denton versus Stainless Steel and Natural River Rock coming together in Semicircle Balance Study number 14 by Matt Amante at Horn Square. Week 5, we're down to the final 4. The matchup, the winner of Bracket 1 will go up against the winner of Bracket 2, and then in Week 6, the winner of Bracket 3 takes on the winner of Bracket 4. Then, it's down to the championship in Week 7. The final 2 sculptures will battle it out for the title of People's Choice. Help your favorite win this wonderful recognition by heading to the Town of Clayton's Facebook page and simply liking your favorite each week. Remember, you can only like a sculpture once, so you'll have to share, and get your friends and neighbors to vote along with you and carry your favorite to the end. Voting in each bracket will only last 1 week, beginning each Monday at 8 a.m. and ending at midnight on Fridays. So be part of the crowning of our Downtown Clayton Sculpture Trail People's Choice. Again, the voting begins January 2015. Now, back to the mayor.
So thank you for joining us for Spotlight on Clayton. Next time, we're going to explore the holiday craze, the events, and all the good things going on in Clayton, North Carolina. Thanks again for joining us on Spotlight on Clayton.